Hey everybody, Evan McDaniel here. I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about the difference between fat loss and weight loss. I get a lot of questions about this, and I just want to clear everything up so that you know exactly what you should be doing to ensure that you're losing the right type of weight. Because a lot of people go about this in a very incorrect fashion, and it spins their wheels, and then you start yo-yoing big time. Prototypical weight loss program is basically going to be the calories in, calories out, burn more calories than you're taking in, and you're going to be losing weight. We want to make sure that we're doing some things correct nutritionally to make sure that we're losing fat loss as well as the training. But the training should be pretty easy because you guys already come in here, which is a big step in the right direction. So, pretty typical weight loss program happens over time. What happens here is we try to decrease our calorie intake, we try to increase our cardiovascular output, and what that does is that leads to you continually having to, if this is time here, continually having to burn and decrease your calorie intake over time to not only see a result, but then to maintain that result. So you might start out with 20 to 25 minutes and get this result, but to maintain that result over time, you're actually going to have to start doing 30, 40, even 60 minutes to not only maintain this result, but to get maybe to where you want to be. Now, what happens here over time is that these variables inevitably are going to change. And what happens is during, say, the holidays, when these flip-flop, okay, and your consumption goes up and your output comes down, your weight is going to start fluctuating big time here. And we want to try to avoid this at all costs. We do this by ensuring that we do strength training and consuming the right type of carbohydrate. Generally, with this type of process over here, people are cutting out carbs. And that's going to be a telltale sign and a surefire way to facilitate that yo-yo diet. Because what happens is a carbohydrate is what regulates blood sugar. And it's blood sugar that's going to allow you to kind of prevent cravings. It's also going to allow you to help build muscle. Now, on the opposite side here, over time, if we're building muscle correctly and maintaining a decent output to a decent input here and making sure that we're having a good carb, okay? So we're having oatmeal, quinoa, let's see, sweet potatoes, we'll call them sweet peas for short, and then obviously brown rice. If you're consuming these consistently with a good balance of protein every meal, about 20 grams of each, doing some strength training at least 4 to 6 times a week, this is going to allow us to start with about our 30 minutes of exercise, and we're going to be building muscle, okay? And once we start building muscle, it's muscle that burns fat as a fuel. If we're not building muscle, then what happens is your body doesn't have any way to maintain that output, because 1 pound of muscle is going to burn roughly 50 calories of fat every single day, okay? Now let's just do some simple math here. Let's say you weigh 150 pounds, okay? Your body fat percentage is 20%. So that means you have 30 pounds of fat on your body, okay? Now, let's take a look at if you weigh the same amount, but then you have, let's say, 10%, which is really low, but I just use it for simple math. So then you're only going to have 15 pounds of fat. But your weight actually stays the same. So we've gained 15 pounds of muscle here. And so if you do some simple math here, what's that going to be? 750 calories per day of fat that your body's burning. Okay? 15, right? 15 times 5. I'm super good at math here. So what's going to happen is your body's going to be burning this fat whether you work out or not, which is really key in limiting these fluctuations in your weight. Because if our body's burning this and these variables change, okay, during the holidays, where your consumption goes up, you're still cutting into this just a little bit by the muscle that you've built. And that's why it's really important that we do not limit carbohydrate intake, because it's the carbohydrates that actually help build muscle. It's the carbohydrates that actually help fuel fat burn. There's a thermogenic effect of food from these things right here that help our body burn fat 24 hours a day on top of all of the fat that our body's burning from building muscle. That's why it's really important that we don't focus on overburning and overworking. It's really key that we focus on building muscle, the intensity and the duration of activities, keeping the duration low and the intensity high so that we're facilitating a fat loss. Because over time, what can happen is you can maintain these types of changes with minimal output. So over time, again, what happens is our activity level can actually decrease. So say the holiday time, your activity level, maybe you only get in 2 times a week. You can maintain muscle with just stressing those in a high intensity, short duration fashion pretty easily with minimal output, 2 to 3 days a week. That's why I've always told people, if you want to change, you have to be in this range. These ranges are strictly for maintenance. So if you want to maintain, that's fine. Do 2 to 3 days a week. That's completely cool. But what's going to happen is over those holidays, when you start decreasing your activity and increasing that output, your weight's not going to fluctuate. It might fluctuate a few pounds because it's weight. You drink more water in a day or more coffee or beer in the holidays, whatever you drink, that weight can go up 5-6 pounds in a day. But that's not fat, okay? It takes a lot of effort to put on that much fat in a very short period of time, okay? And that's why this is so important that we focus on building muscle to then increase this, I call it that afterburn, okay? From one of our half-hour workouts, your body's burning fat for another 24 to 36 hours, okay? After one of your HIIT sessions, your body's burning about 12 to 14 hours. So that's why it's really important that we're building muscle, we're not doing these long cardio sessions the majority of our time, and that we're building muscle to then help offset some of this. So you'll notice that over time, we're not really focused on the weight on the scale. It's actually this percentage of body fat and the total pounds of fat that's very important. Because you can maintain your weight, lose pounds of fat, and you're definitely going to allow yourself to maintain during the rough patches, especially like me in the summertime when I eat more chips and salsa and things. It's a lot easier to maintain your weight and maintain your health and find that good healthy balance if you're focused on, say, the total pounds of fat, your body fat percentage, versus just the pounds on the scale. Because it's really easy to drop this number. If we limit carbohydrate intake and start working out for an hour, hour and a half a day, this number is going to come down. You might weigh 120 pounds, but you might actually go up to maybe 28% body fat. I don't have that kind of math skills off the top of my head. So as you can see, your weight went down, but you have a much higher percentage of fat, so this total percentage is actually going to increase even though there's less of you. And that's only going to lead to the fluctuations in weight more because you haven't built muscle and you haven't changed this number, the afterburn output that your body's burning consistently through the day, whether you work out or not. So I hope that clears it up. Make sure that we're not limiting carbs. Make sure we're not focused on overburning. Make sure we're focused on finding that balance of good carbohydrate, good protein to help build muscle and burn body fat so that we can start focusing down here and getting to a much healthier state where your weight doesn't fluctuate as much as it probably normally would. If you have any questions about any of this, shoot me an email, evan@fitstudios.net. Thank you.